I already did my retrospective on the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood multiplayer, and I'm going to be doing more retrospectives on that kind of stuff going forward. So if you're interested in Assassin's Creed, or maybe you were a fan of the multiplayer, as niche as I guess that was, be sure to keep your eye peeled on this channel, because we will be talking more about this stuff. But in a sort of final update, for now, a nail in the coffin to this story, the Assassin's Creed multiplayer, along with the Splinter Cell multiplayer servers, along with the Driver San Francisco servers and more, are now officially dead. There are a lot of details to kind of discuss with this and what it means, but we all knew it was going to happen on October 1st of 2022. It had already been pushed back once. I have a few thoughts to share on this because I think I've made my thoughts very well known in terms of thinking it's a mistake to discontinue a lot of these services. I genuinely do, especially from multi-billion-dollar companies that don't even feel the drop in the bucket that is maintaining their servers. But before we hop into it, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. Let me know what you're thinking down below as we get into it, and I'm excited to talk with you today. Now, we've known for a little while that the Assassin's Creed multiplayer was going to go offline, but an interesting little tidbit is just all of the drama surrounding it. We called it out on this channel. I believe that video got a few 100,000 views. I was shocked that anyone cared as much as they did when we talked about it, but it's something frustrating to me and to gamers everywhere because this is another example, I guess, in a long line of examples of companies cutting support to things that they act like will be around for a very, very long time. And while these were around for years, it's interesting because Ubisoft, we all know, wasn't feeling the heat or the financial burden of maintaining these servers at all. And while the corporate shills will always say, well, why make $10 billion when you can make $10 billion and $12, the fact remains that Ubisoft had nothing really to lose by keeping these servers open, except for the news of new games possibly coming up. Why keep Splinter Cell services online if you're going to be doing a remake with a retelling for a modern audience? Why give people that free component that they are not really paying for and already did pay for in the past that they can continue using if you can just take that away and save $5? You know, why give them the Assassin's Creed multiplayer when you tout Assassin's Creed Infinity as having multiplayer components to it as well? And what's frustrating to me about this whole thing is we knew that it would happen, but it didn't even happen when it should have. The Assassin's Creed 3 PC servers were down for several weeks, actually, prior to even the announcement that they were shutting down, and then they kind of came back online for the final month, but that doesn't really take away the fact that people, they had been shut down weeks and weeks ahead of time, really probably about a month and a half to 2 months ahead of time, if not more. Assassin's Creed Unity's co-op, which wasn't even listed in being discontinued, has been just a mess for a very long time. And servers are finally working on that again on Xbox and some other places, or at least they were last week. The fact is, it remains to be seen how long they will be working for, because Ubisoft has no incentive to follow their own word, which is something that they showed when they shut down the Driver San Francisco servers very early, actually couple of weeks ahead of time. Those were offline for a lot of people, and at minimum about a week and a half to a week ahead of time they were just fully gone and you were not getting back on Driver San Francisco. Now, was I personally rushing to play Driver San Francisco online? Not really, but when you make a promise now that those services are being extended another month, it's a pretty big dick move to then cut that by a week or two. It's just one of those things that's another in a long line of examples of Ubisoft not sticking to their own word when it came to these online services, and of course cutting corners to save money when they already rake in the dough far more than most companies do on the market. And it's frustrating because there's a lot of stuff that Ubisoft does that I do genuinely support and have supported in the past. The Splinter Cell games, I believe, are genuinely fantastic. Even the weakest of them are better than a lot of games on the market. I think the same thing as well for Assassin's Creed, despite what people will say. I'm a big fan of most of the series, and I really enjoy it. And to see these unique experiences, like the Brotherhood multiplayer, the Revelations multiplayer, the multiplayer for 3, to see them go down and die, at least for now, until people kind of reverse engineer it, get their own fan servers running on PC, and inevitably do what the multi-billion-dollar company won't and preserve this media. To see that happen is frustrating to me because it's not just about the unique gameplay experiences that people are no longer able to participate in. Although to me that is a big factor of it, it also has to do with things like the continuity of Assassin's Creed and other stories, considering that you now have to go to YouTube in order to watch canon in-universe lore about a lot of these things that were going on. Like, for example, a lot of the modern day story of Assassin's Creed was actually tied up in the multiplayer components for Revelations and Assassin's Creed 3, with different Abstergo videos and lore dumps and text communications and emails about things that were going on in that universe now being lost to time unless they were recorded by people. And I know that a lot of the different videos were, but I'm unsure if every single Abstergo memo and email and etc. was actually recorded by people or not. Even for me, I never hit the max rank in Revelations despite playing it at the end of its life. I did end up getting every online multiplayer achievement in Brotherhood, Revelations, and 3, but there was stuff that even I couldn't unlock just because of that dwindling player base and then ultimately it being shut down. Whereas leaving it up at least allowed the possibility to still get access to that story and those things, along with play that unique gameplay element that is now gone. But of course, we know that digital is not forever, and really these companies, anything that you give them direct control over, whether it's streaming a game, whether it's the DRM associated with a game where they can just lock you out of the game, out of a digital copy, if you're online, or even a physical copy at times where you have to validate the license if they have control over that on their end, or even these online multiplayer experiences, they are things that are fleeting and temporary. And I know that we are too, right? None of us will live forever, although I'm still looking for a way, so if you hear about one, let me know. But none of us will live forever on Earth, and none of us will be playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood's multiplayer in the year 3050 because we will be dead, right? That is just the sad reality. But when digital was pitched to us, when these online experiences were pitched to us, it was essentially that they were not going anywhere, that they were going to just be a mainstay. And when you lock canon lore and continuity explanations behind those things and then remove the ability to access and unlock those elements of your game franchise, that is a frustrating experience that on its own is a bad look and ridiculous. But when you pair it with shutting down services early, randomly getting caught doing so and then being forced to put it back up due to backlash, telling people that you're working on fixes through your customer service Ubisoft support Twitter, but not actually doing it, putting off different people's repairs on their games and validation for their files for months and months. For example, Red John, who we talked about in a previous video, friend of the channel, who actually wasn't able to access his own Assassin's Creed Revelations DLC for like 2 years, and Ubisoft just wouldn't help fix that kind of stuff. When you combine all of these together, it's more than just, oh boo-hoo, a 10-year-old multiplayer was shut down, and it becomes something of a pattern that's a little frustrating and ridiculous to actually see happen, and it's why I talk about it. Now, there will always be the people as well who are like, well, listen, Jay, you buy Assassin's Creed, so therefore you're the reason why it's bad. And it's like, I don't really think it has to be all one or the other. I do think that you can buy their games on sale or used or do whatever you want and still have a voice and talk about things that you disagree with and that frustrate you in these communities, right? And it's just too bad that there is almost a shield around these companies that if you call them out, it's unfair, no matter what it is. It's either you're part of the problem because you played their game, so therefore you're the reason why it's bad, or it's, listen, leave them a multi-billion-dollar company alone, they didn't do nothing wrong. Senpai, notice me, please. And I think a lot of people miss the point of just how bad of a look and how sad it is to lock people out of content that you paid for. And now all the EULAs, all the agreements, all the everything essentially says, hey, listen, you're paying for a license. You are just getting a temporary access to this experience and we can take it away whenever we want. But that doesn't mean I have to like it. That doesn't mean I have to enjoy it when it happens. And of course, in this situation as well, I just don't like it. I really don't agree with it, and it frustrates me. And I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are down below. I'm sure people will salvage these multiplayer experiences on PC and create these fan-made lobbies and servers and stuff like that over time because there are actual players who are very, very dedicated to these types of things and to preserving media, preserving games, and keeping those things alive. I personally think that things like this shouldn't just be disposable, whether they're multiplayer, single player, or whatever. I think that they have intrinsic value on their own as art and as an interesting experience, but I know that a lot of people don't share that ideology. A lot of people have now adopted the ideology that every movie, game, or experience is disposable and throwaway and easily replaced by the next. And I don't think I'll really ever subscribe to that idea. So, speaking of subscribe, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about everything going on. I'm interested to read your thoughts. We have a new channel membership feature up on our secondary channel, Degenerate Plays. We play through Assassin's Creed games and other stuff over there, so I hope you will check that out. And of course, my wife Jill has made a wonderful, fantastic website, Enchanted Glamour, where she sells resin pieces, where those are starting to roll out and get put up on the website very, very soon, that use repurposed comic book parts that were actually getting thrown out to preserve that kind of stuff and use that paper and other things. And also she makes wonderful jewelry over there and different gifts for anyone of any age. So I hope you'll check that out. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shway.